means it's a group of people from the same team, not necessarily QA engineers. It could be developers, it could be product owners. They bang before the release, few days before release or a week before release, on the application and try to find bugs. It's usually very fruitful. And you can find a lot of bugs which QA engineers never seen. What else, again, like I said, what other things QA engineer can do? Both. The ones who are involved in the technical part or manual testers, functional testers. You do the perform exploratory testing of new features, integration and end-to-end testing for the whole set of features for upcoming release. Perform validation, pre-release production, send-it testing, and try to automate as much as possible. Convince the Scrum team constantly increase the code and test automation coverage. In the end of the day, like I wanted to mention, if you are an engineer with the word test or SQA in your title, then you are enabler of good testing for those other engineers who do not have that title. So now it's questions and answers. So you guys can email that to me. I think Blanca has my email address. It's very simple, jradom@gmail.com. So, or you can send me whatever. I think we have some limits in this meeting because I think it's a free Zoom. So Blanca, now it's your turn. So again, I have the email. You guys can send me emails, whatever you like.
Okay. If you want to ask right now, you can do it. We have time. Sorry for shut down the conference, but also if any of you want to ask something to Jeff at the moment, and also in the chat I had put the email. Okay. So I will start with one question. So you say that as you work on Google for Google and also now for Oracle, you think that the new testers should know also code or develop programs, or just know about the language that they are testing? So,
well, it depends on somebody's knowledge. So it doesn't mean that every test engineer has to know how to develop the automation. It doesn't mean that. You can do it yourself, or you can enable somebody to do it for you. So in other words, like I said, it's not like you're not talking about the Oracle or any particular company. Every company is different, but I think the main emphasis have to be done by, I give you an example. Let's say you have a baker, right? The baker bakes the bread. The baker is responsible for the quality of the bread, not somebody who tries this bread, right? I mean, and let's say you as a test engineer discovered a problem. The best way to do it, discover it beforehand, ideally, right? Ideally beforehand when the software is developed, piece by piece, small steps. So, but a lot of people don't want that. Developers, it depends. If you work for a small company, they need to deliver the software no matter what, because they're waiting for another round of financing. That's how it's done in the United States. But that doesn't mean that they don't need to develop a high quality software. At Google, for example, they value more the rock solid piece of software rather than additional features. They think that they can deliver less features with a higher quality or more features with a lower quality. That's pretty much the answer to your question. So not everyone have to do the code or whatever, but it's nice to learn it, especially, you can at least look into somebody's code and see, look, how did you verify this and this? Okay. Again, and not all the developers like when you critique them or just look at their code and say, but the other developer have to be doing. You also, like I said, you have to watch. So there's a tools available that can calculate the unit test coverage. If it's very low, no matter what other tests you will do after that, you will have more and more issues in the long run. So that's pretty much what I want to tell about it.
Someone else wants to ask something? Okay. I'm assuming that everything was clear.
Again, I'm very open. You can send me emails if you have some questions. And let me just also emphasize that what I told you, that doesn't mean everyone, every company you work for, you have to follow what I said. It's not, you don't, in nowadays, in the software development, you don't work with orders. Somebody order you such and such. You work through the convincing somebody. You need to convince somebody that this is an important part. And sometimes it's not easy. There are companies that operate for like 20, 30 years, and they did it such a way for many years. They're not easy to switch to some other methodologies or other technologies. So that means it's not black and white. Like I said in the beginning, it's not like one size fit all. That's for sure. Well,
yeah.
that's, yeah.
You want to add something more?
No, I'm done pretty much.
Okay, if anybody have any question about this, we can finish. Jeff, thank you so much for your time and give us your this talk to everybody. We are very enthusiastic with in this community, so I think that maybe this talk can help more than one. And you are invited, or everybody is invited to give a talk about any topic if they decide. And thank you so much. I will save this video and put it in the Facebook group.
Okay. I want to also tell you, thank you very much for having me.
No, it was a pleasure to have you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everybody, and see you the next time in another talk. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for this course. It was great.
Thank you.